ITA for breaking off my engagement with my fiancé after he made inappropriate comments about my sister. Hi everyone, I need some perspective on this because my family is split and I feel like I'm losing my mind. A. Have been with my fiancé James, 32M, for 3 years. We got engaged 6 months ago and everything seemed perfect. He's charming, ambitious, and has always been very attentive toward me. My family loves him, or at least they did. The issue started 2 weeks ago when my younger sister, Lily, 24F, came to stay with us for a few days. Lily is beautiful. Like, she could model if she wanted to. She's always been the golden child in our family, but we've never had sibling rivalry. I've always been proud of her. The first day Lily arrived, James seemed excited to meet her, which I thought was sweet. But as the days went on, I started noticing little things. He would compliment her a lot. At first, it was harmless stuff, like, "Wow, Lily, your hair is amazing," or "You have such a great sense of style." But then it escalated. One night, we were all having dinner together, and James said, "It's crazy how you and Lily are sisters. You're both beautiful, but in such different ways." I tried to brush it off as a clumsy compliment, but it felt off. The breaking point came the next evening. Lily and I were getting ready to go out for a girls' night, and James walked into the living room while Lily was adjusting her dress. He stared at her for what felt like an eternity before saying, "If I wasn't engaged, I'd be in so much trouble around you." My jaw dropped. Lily looked horrified and immediately left the room. I confronted him right there, asking what the hell he meant by that. He laughed it off, saying it was just a joke and that I was being overly sensitive. But here's where things get really messy. After Lily left, she called me crying the next day, saying she felt incredibly uncomfortable with James. She admitted something she hadn't told me before. James had messaged her privately a few weeks before her visit. He told her she had a magnetic energy and that I was so lucky to have her as a sister. She hadn't responded because it felt weird, but she didn't want to upset me, so she stayed quiet. When I confronted James about it, he didn't deny it. He said he was trying to bond with my family and called it harmless. Harmless? Messaging my sister privately? Calling her magnetic? How was that not crossing a boundary? I told him I needed space to think, and he got defensive. He started calling me insecure, saying I was letting my jealousy ruin our relationship. He even accused Lily of blowing things out of proportion because she's used to being the center of attention. That night, I did some digging. I don't know what I was hoping to find or not find, but I looked through his phone while he was in the shower. And there it was, a message to his best friend. He wrote, "Lily is a total smoke show. Not gonna lie, it's hard not to compare her to me. She's just so much more fun and confident. If I met her first, who knows?" I felt physically sick. This wasn't just a one-off comment or an inappropriate joke. This was a pattern. I packed a bag and went to stay with a friend that night. When I told my parents, they were surprisingly on James' side. They said I was blowing up my life over something I could have worked through. My mom even suggested that I was overreacting because Lily and I have always had tension. What tension? I've always supported Lily. My sister, on the other hand, was furious for me. She said James had always given her a weird vibe, but didn't want to ruin things for me. A couple of my friends also backed me up, saying I was dodging a bullet. I officially called off the engagement last week, and now James has been on a smear campaign against me. He's telling people I'm paranoid and that I let my sister come between us. He's even trying to get mutual friends to convince me to take him back because he made a stupid mistake. So now I'm here, feeling guilty, confused, and angry all at once. Was I really overreacting? Should I have handled this differently? My family is still divided, and I feel like I'm losing the people I thought would support me the most. ITA for breaking off my engagement with James. Top comment of Not Your Average Sis. NTA, girl, run. James didn't just cross a line. He sprinted past it, waving a red flag the whole way. The jokes alone were bad enough, but the private messages, the text to his friend, that's straight up disrespectful. You're not being insecure. You're setting boundaries, and he's mad because he knows he messed up. You dodged a massive bullet. OP's reply. Thank you for saying that. I've been questioning myself so much, especially with my parents making me feel like I'm the one throwing everything away. It's comforting to know others see this as crossing a line. Comment of Sis Support Crew. NTA and your sister sounds like a saint for handling this as gracefully as she did. I can't believe she stayed quiet about the message just to avoid upsetting you.
She clearly cares about you, and James disrespected both of you. Good riddance to him. OP's reply. I feel terrible that Lily didn't feel like she could tell me right away. I don't want her to feel like she has to protect me from things like this. I've apologized to her and we're working through it, but I hate that this even happened to her. Comment of Red Flag Hunter. Info, has James done anything like this before? You mentioned noticing little comments about other women. Were there other red flags you brushed off in the past? OP's reply. Looking back, there were definitely signs. He's always been a little too complimentary toward other women, like making comments about how brave or confident they are in front of me. I chalked it up to him being a friendly guy, but now I wonder if it was just his way of testing boundaries. Comment of parental pressures. I'm sorry, but your parents siding with James is wild to me. Why are they so invested in this relationship? Have they always dismissed your feelings like this? OP's reply. My mum has always been big on the idea of marriage and staying together no matter what. She and my dad had their own issues when I was growing up, and I think she projects that onto me. She thinks I'm being too picky or expecting perfection. It's exhausting. Comment of don't blame the sister. If he's saying stuff like, if I met her first and she's so much more fun, he's not just disrespecting you, he's disrespecting your sister too. How gross. I hope Lily knows she didn't do anything wrong because this is 100% on him. OP's reply. I've made it clear to Lily that none of this is her fault. She's been nothing but supportive and I'm grateful to have her. I'm honestly more upset with James for trying to pit us against each other than anything else. Comment of therapist needed. NTA, but your family dynamics sound complicated. Had you considered therapy? Not just for you, but maybe a session with your parents to address why they're so dismissive of your feelings? OP's reply. That's a good idea. I've been thinking about starting therapy for myself anyway. I don't know if my parents would go, but it might help me process everything that's happened. Comment of he knew better. James isn't stupid. He knew what he was feeling. Men don't just accidentally send messages like that, or make comments like, if I wasn't engaged. He wanted to see how far he could push things. You absolutely did the right thing. OP's reply. This hit me hard because deep down I think you're right. I kept telling myself he didn't mean it that way, but it's hard to believe that now. I think I needed to hear this, so thank you. Comment of golden child problem. I hate to say this, but your parents might be projecting their own feelings about Lily onto you. It's like they're blaming you for breaking things off because they don't want to admit that James is their problem. You don't deserve that. OP's reply. It definitely feels that way sometimes. Lily has always been the golden child, but I never felt resentful of her. It's frustrating that my parents are using that dynamic to justify James's behavior instead of holding him accountable.